Hey, it's 6:30. We're live.
Yeah.
TV. We're going to talk in a few moments about safe driving practices. I can hear somebody's microphone's on out there. Okay, announcement. Oh, we'll start with code of conduct item here. We got maintain respectful behavior whenever we're working, driving a company vehicle, or wearing a logo. And you're always representing the company, so remember that when you're out there with your logo on, driving the vehicle, people notice, and they get a good impression. We want to keep it that way. The employees, we've got Mike Sterling, Tyler Hodgeny, Stephen Mitchell, and Tyler Lyons, and Paul Sabrin III returning. Wow, we got a lot of new people. Are any here? Mike Sterling. Are you related to any other Sterlings around here? Okay. Welcome, Mike. And anyone else? No? Okay. They're all out working, except for Mike. Oh, okay. So, also, we circulated a sign-up sheet last week for the fare tickets. If you haven't signed up already, send the word on into the office to Sarah, and she'll put you on the list. So you get 2 free fare tickets coming up. I'm sad to say it's coming up pretty quickly here. Summer will be reaching an end soon. Okay, some of the other announcements that we've been holding on to. Yard parking's been pretty good the way I think we got it set up. We're still seeking, especially that on-the-job trainee person there. We can't find anyone for Rygate, and that's a special position for a VTrans project, which Rygate is, and they get to kind of be trained in positions. There's several different types of positions they can be trained for, like an operator, for example, and it goes to minorities or women. So we're looking for them, but over that end of the state, no one's really responded. So if you know somebody over there, especially over there, let us know. Okay, technical tips. Transportation engineering, we're still discussing that topic. This kind of next phase of horizontal curve is going to go on a couple weeks at least. It's a fairly complex thing, but we're going to step into it gradually. But many of our projects involve some form of transportation engineering, designing, implementing traffic control plans, which we do, and construction on roadways, rec paths, bike paths, rail highway grade crossings, and constructing rail and highway signal systems and lining, tamping a rail. So this week, like I said, we're going to talk about the horizontal curve and kind of what I'm calling a regular horizontal curve, because there's a lot of hybrids there that make it more complicated. This is an image of a drawing, a line drawing from a set of plans on a highway project. And actually, that's a rail crossing there. And it gives curves, these horizontal curves. So we're looking in plan view, and this shaded piece of pie is the horizontal curve. So actually, the curve is there, but it's essentially a piece of a circle or a piece of pie. And we have point of curvature, the PC, and they give it a station. The PI, which is this point, the PI is the intersection of the 2 tangents. So you get a tangent drawing off from that straight section at the beginning of the curve, and that in the other direction, other side, and they meet at a point called the PI, and then the point of tangency, which is where you're exiting the curve. So it's the end of the curve. PC is the beginning of the curve, PT is the end of the curve, PI is the intersection of the tangents. And I thought it'd be good to remind ourselves of a couple of common equations in circles. And you have circumference, which is 2 times pi times the radius, and the area, which is 2 pi times radius squared, where radius, of course, is the distance from the center of the circle to the outside, and pi is that magical number, which is actually 3.14159, and it's one of those strange numbers that goes on forever and never repeats itself, and is really, people get PhDs trying to figure out pi. So horizontal geometry is all about circumference part, and I got both equations, circumference and area, and then the radius and the tangent relationships. So it's all about geometry. And the area equation I put here is really not relevant to horizontal curves, but it's good just to bring it up so we remind ourselves that there are essentially two basic equations, one for circles, one for circumference, the other for area. And here's a couple of curves. There's a curve here, horizontal curve. You see a tangent section here, and it would be a PI back here. And the same here, this is a little bit, not quite as smooth a curve. And this comes around, so we got two curves here. A little aerial view in the backyard, actually. This is the back corner where the driller's equipment is, and this would be Delta's shop. So another thing I just want to review for this week is to talk about the angles and how we measure angles. And essentially, as most of you recall, a circle is 360 degrees, right? Well, each degree has 60 minutes in it, so it's broken into 60 minutes for each small 1/360th of that circle. And then each one of those degrees is broken down into each one of those minutes is broken down into 60 seconds. So it gets pretty fine. In fact, I figured it out. So a circle contains 360 times 60 times 60 for a total of 1,296,000 seconds overall in that whole circle that you can measure and break down. It's hard to measure down to that obviously to that fine a point. So that's what we're going to talk about just for this week on the horizontal curves. But I also have another interesting side note is about nautical miles. And of course, we always talk about statute miles, which is statute miles 5,280 feet. And then you hear occasionally about nautical miles, or like knots and that sort of thing. Well, the interesting part is that a nautical mile in distance is equal to 1 minute of the circumference of the Earth. And that's how it came about. So 1 minute, it happens that the circumference already figured out for us here is like 131,260,800 feet all around at, say, sea level. And then if you divide that by 360 degrees and divide it again by 60 minutes, which gets you down to 1 minute of the Earth, it gives you a distance of that 6,076 feet. And our regular miles are 5,280. So giving a little relationship here, we get 1 nautical mile is equal to 1.15 statute miles. Sound right, Ben?
Yeah, it's right.
Ben uses it a lot in flying.
60, let's see, so 1 minute of latitude is, compare that to nautical miles.
Right, that's 1 nautical mile, or 6,000
miles per degree.
6,076 feet.
Yep.
So I don't know why we ever even bothered with statute miles. So anyway, that's also used in aviation and in marine travel on the water. So kind of an interesting side note there.
They do that to relate it to the Earth.
Yeah.
So they can relate it to latitude and longitude.
Right. It would almost make sense to get rid of statute miles, but I'm sure it won't. Not that I want to, because I know when I'm biking, getting a whole mile is a lot of work. Getting more than a mile is a lot more work. Last week I ended up riding through Canada. I switched over to kilometers. It was great. Got a lot more distance.
A lot quicker.
Yeah, I went by a lot quicker. Okay, we're going to talk about the Foot Street water main replacement this week. That's in Middlebury. And we're contracted with the town of Middlebury to construct 3,260 linear feet. That's almost half a nautical mile, isn't it? Or yeah, nautical mile. So a 10-inch diameter PE-wrapped ductile iron water main. And the work also includes services, hydrants, valves, and Foot Street, if you don't recall or haven't been there, is located on the south side of Middlebury, approximately where Foster Motors is where it ties in, runs off to the east and swings north again. So this is some trench box work, obviously, with water line. We're using our 290 with the GPS to help ourselves keep on line and grade with minimal over excavation and waste. How's that working, George?
Excellent.
Yeah?
Perfect.
Good.
Saving a lot of stone.
Yeah, I'll bet. That's the key. And there's like a bunch of services, and several of those 20 services involve road crossings done by horizontal directional drilling. If it's on the house service on the same side as a water main, obviously we don't have to drill. And the guys are keeping nice and cleaned up behind them and making it look pretty good, I understand. There were approximately 500, or is approximately 500 cubic yards of rock, and ECI performed probes with our rock drill before the work so that we could identify where that high rock is and then go back and plan to remove it before we're digging along and all of a sudden get, oh, what do we got to do today? We got rock. We got to wait for the blasters. So this was a way of kind of, getting out there and planning our work better, which worked good. And we hired main drilling and blasting to do the rock blasting. So there's some of that PE covered wrapped pipe. So hey, did anyone notice that we gave away some tickets? I know a couple people did, and I wanted the fourth. So what I did is I took the 2, flipped the coin, and Harvey, you lost. Brad, that means you won. Great little opportunity here at short notice, of course. But this, I'll swing right to the bottom first. Thanks to Baker Distributing and a friend of Tom Lawyers. And they had, of course, the event is the 5-Hour Energy 301 this weekend at Loudon. And there's 4 tickets. VIP passes to the Miller tent. That's why I put the number 2 car up there. Anybody number 2 car fan? That's why no one really responded. Yeah, that's what it takes, right? So Brad will have 4 tickets, and he'll have passes to the Miller tent with food, beverages, obviously, and a visit from Brad Keselowski. And free parking, which is a big deal too, right? So, all right, well, we're going to talk here about safe driving practices. All I did on the blog is I mentioned our code of conduct about driving safely, defensively, and courteously, and what that safety means, like inspecting your equipment before you get in there, right settings, mirrors, seat belts, securing yourself, seat belts and cargo, making sure your windshields are clear, headlights, taillights are all working, brakes, things too, obviously. Limiting distractions when you're driving at the speed suitable for the road conditions, but not more than the speed limit, waiting patiently for the best opportunities to pass for slow motorists, cyclists, and pedestrians. And driving defensively, for me, means watching out for upcoming situations. Again, where you might have motorists, cyclists, pedestrians, animals, obstructions, or anything in the roadway. And then the other defensive thing I think of often is just easing yourself into zones where problems are likely, not being too aggressive, pushing it where you come around a corner, say. And driving courteously means allowing those more aggressive drivers to just get past you, not worry about it. Just so long. Show professionalism when we're driving, and to provide a wide berth for pedestrians and cycling. So, Matt, you got a little presentation, right?
Yep. I'm going to talk about a little bit more on the cell phone side of things and issues that also the states around us have up their state requirements too, so we're going to go over that. But it's mostly just cell phone, our policy, and the policies that we have out there. Still an issue. It's going to be an issue throughout a long time until the police really start cracking down on it. I'd say our drivers are pretty good, but it's still, you see a lot of people texting and on their phones, and against the state law. So we're just going to go over a lot of just some of the general requirements. Again, we just want to make sure we meet the regulations, but also we are also on, the railroad has their own regulations. I'm going to go over that. Some of the facilities we work at, I'll go over that. And just so everyone just should be limit non-business related usage for break times. You know, that's kind of a thing that we see a lot in when we're trying to perform work. People texting or using personal time while we're trying to get work done out there on the job sites. So while operating motor vehicles, again, it's a state law, has to be hands-free device through your Bluetooth. Okay, this thing has to be secured in your truck or vehicle. It can't be on your lap, can't really be in your cup holder. Your phone is supposed to be secure. It's not supposed to be somewhere where you're going to reach, look for it. It's supposed to be kind of a one-button touch to answer a call, and then usually talk through some type of Bluetooth device. Police officers are really cracking down when they see people stopping and looking at their phone and checking a message at traffic lights. I've seen a lot of people getting pulled over for that. So just know that that is a law now about just even looking at your phone. Doesn't matter if you're talking, texting, anything. Just if you have your phone in your hand, they will pull you over. So they're prohibited in work zones and all throughout the state of Vermont. New Hampshire just their state law just came in place July 1st, so they're the same as Vermont now. No has to be hands-free, no talking or texting while driving. New York was one of the leaders of this, and in Massachusetts and Connecticut, pretty much really throughout New England now, it is pretty much across the board, which is good. It's to improve roadway safety. It's definitely an issue, especially with the younger drivers, texting, calling people on the phone, because it's a cognitively distractions where your mind is thinking about something else and you're not paying attention of what you're doing or driving. So again, our policy is the use of hands-free devices is currently required, and it's also a federal law for all the CDL drivers. Again, we just don't want to see you guys on the phone, a hand up to your ear. Okay, if it has to be a Bluetooth, that's good. But we would like to see, if we can, to limit our talking periodically on our phone as limited as possible, just so we can focus on driving and not, trying to take in all that information of where you need to be. But I understand that calls need to make sure they're happening so you know where you're going, but let's just try to be better planning ahead before you get in our vehicles and making phone calls. So again, try to stay off those phones and eliminate any texting while driving. So again, with heavy equipment, I want to talk about this too as well. It is also very dangerous talking on the phone or trying to do any texting on heavy equipment. So please park the equipment and lock the hydraulics out, and where appropriate, park out of the traveled portion of any roadway or work areas if you have to get on the phone. It is an issue. We need to make sure that we address it. Foremen, it's your responsibility to kind of maintain overall safety on your project. So if you see individuals working and on the phone or texting too much, talk with them. And if you have an issue, you can get the safety department involved. You can get your project manager involved, just so we can eliminate that, because it's kind of an unsafe act. Last thing we want to do is just someone's on the phone, the hydraulics aren't lifted out, they kind of move, and say the excavator swings into traveling public, or hits an individual. So we want to make sure that we're discussing these types of situations. So railroad, they have a very strict cell phone policy. It's pretty much you can't ever be on it at all inside on the tracks. It's in the foul line. So you want to step out of the foul line to take a call. And again, it's pretty much non-business related. It's just break times only. It's very strictly enforced while working on rail property. There's been a lot of major train accidents in the past that led to this regulation for them. So it's just a good thing to remember while working on the rail. Stay off the phone. If you have to answer a phone call, get yourself out of the right of way of the rail to answer those phone calls. Especially if we have any equipment on the rail itself, we shouldn't be answering our phones while working on our excavators on the tracks until we have break times. So VTrans, they have their own policy anytime we're working. VTang, I'm sorry, at Camp Johnson and at the Air National Guard. they pretty much have a big time. If they catch you talking on the phone while in their facility, they'll just escort you right out of the facility. So it's a good thing to remember when we're working there. Eliminate that cell phone use while on the base. So again, just a quick summary of our policy. Cell phone is restricted hands-free while driving, no texting or tablet while driving or operating any heavy equipment. Eliminate the cell phone use to business only except for breaks and lunch period. And cell phone policy was first introduced in 2010. It's something that we've kind of slipped in the last couple of years. We were trying to bring it back to the forefront and really making sure that we're focused on our tasks, driving, on our projects, trying to complete the work that we're planning out for the day, and eliminating the distractions. And I tell you, these things are nothing but a distraction. And they're at some point in time, there's always an accident on the road every single day, from somebody texting while driving, picking up the phone. If the phone's not secure, you go over a curve or something, and the phone goes into your side seat, and you're reaching for it. So you know it, you're crossing a lane, and you're hitting an oncoming traffic. So it's just trying to eliminate these distractions and keeping it so you can focus on the task at hand. We have enough things to do each and every day, and these cell phones, especially if it's not business related, this is another distraction. So that's really all I have for safe driving techniques and cell phone policy. Is there any questions regarding that?
What I find frustrating, and I certainly support the law, but I think what used to happen is people would kind of drive and be able to check your messages or something. Now they drive like this, checking their messages.
Right.
Unfortunately, it has almost made the road more dangerous.
Yeah, it's
having the law, keeping people, and a lot of people I see out there are going like this.
looking down.
Yeah. What can you do? All right. Good. Thanks. Mark Morrow is here. Yes, Mark. There's Mark. He's going to pass out paychecks, so he gets to put a face to some of you guys. So go for it, Mark. You're on.
Okay. Come on. Just let me know your name when you come up.
One person walked away with 10 checks, Mark. What happened?
I'm old out of bad memory.
Hey, Ken.
Yeah.
Harvey requested